everyone, welcome to my channel. Welcome to Arcanum's Darklight. This video was prompted based on a poll, or not a poll, but a question I put out over on my Patreon, asking my patrons what videos they would like me to do, topics to discuss, sharing my experiences. So I rather do things that way, as I mentioned on my other channel. If you're not subscribed over there, go over and check it out. However, I mentioned on my other channel that I'm not on a schedule. I am not following the algorithm. So please hit the bell to be notified so you'll know when I post a video. It's very random. But I just want to read off the question from this patron. How to connect with entities and spirits who are coming to you in your dreams. So I want to share my thoughts on what I think about that and my experience. So if you want to hear what that is, grab a seat. I have my coffee here. And it's been a minute, so I may be a bit awkward, as I also mentioned on my other channel. But it is what it is. We're just showing up and doing the things. So I have here on my phone some notes from 2 books that I wanted to share. And yeah, because I don't have the physical copies of these books, but after going through it in some studies today, one of them I think I'm definitely going to get. But let's begin with that question. So on here, I talk a bit about when we discuss conjuring or working with or communing with spirits or entities. One of the things that I mention all the time is, right, you doing the work and building that relationship. But the other thing that I talk about is truly knowing what you want in general, what you want and who you are, and the awareness of yourself. And the reason why I always mention this, or not always, but the reason why I say this is because when you commune with a spirit or an entity, this is an energy, right? This is you're working with an archetype that brings with it a specific resonance, a specific energy. So if you don't know yourself, if you don't understand your vibration, it is going to be difficult for you to understand the subtle shifts and changes that happen when you are working with spirits. It seems simple, but the reason why I'm trying to relay this very clearly is because this is the thing that I think is most important in knowing yourself. So, right, what does it feel like? What resonance do you vibe with when you are sitting in meditation? What does that feel like? What is the shift in the elements? What is your element that you vibe with more? Are you a fire sign and you love to work with fire? Just what are the things that you truly know that is the things that make up who you are? These are things that I think is very important. So when you are working with spirits, knowing your thoughts, knowing what you want, knowing what you desire, and desire is a big one, right? So knowing that you desire this one thing, when something else shows up and it's pretty and it's shiny, your focus is detoured to that shiny object, and that's not really the thing that you desire. Until you get to that space, I think that's where you should start. When wanting to know, to make sure that you can alleviate trickster energy, alleviate being influenced by an energy that comes into your space, at least not in a negative way, and even not negative, right? Even even ways, because this is how trickster energy works, right? They're not going to show up with something that you hate because you're not going to vibe with it. They're going to allure you. They're going to be like, hey, look at this, right? And it's going to look pretty and shiny. And so you're going to be influenced by it. So knowing really what you desire is first foremost important. And then the other thing is the different types of spirits, the different types of realms, and understanding those frequencies and what they resonate with or their vibe, right? This takes time. This is all of the components that lead up to you having a successful conjuration, a successful communication. So I'm gonna detour a sec and share with you a couple of things from 2 books. The first, gotta put on my glasses here. So the first is a book by Martin Coleman, Communing with Spirits, not to be confused with Jason Miller's book, which I will share something from in a second, which is Consorting with Spirits. So this is, the author is Martin Coleman, and it is Communing with Spirits. So I'm reading a part that I think is relevant to what it is that I am talking about. So to be in control of the universe around you, you must first be in control of yourself. This requires that you be in control of your mind. If you are going to perform any kind of magic, you must first be well acquainted with it and able to work with it. Those parts of yourself that actually perform the magic. This requires that you know far more about yourself, your motivations, your real needs and desires than an average person is even able to believe that he or she could know. From an occult or hidden point of view, human beings have an intangible, non-physical body which is intermingled with and the constant companion of the physical body. This non-physical body is referred to as the astral body because it is said to respond to the non-physical influence of the stars and the planets. So I'm not going to go into reading more. I'm going to stop there because I just wanted to share that viewpoint and also mention, right, this is the influence can be coming from, right, we all have this astral body, this biofield around us. So when there's a shift in those energies from the resonance of this archetype or these beings, these spirits that show up, if you understand your frequency, you're going to know the subtle shifts. But also, more importantly, you will be aware and not influenced. So there are things that we typically do in the like conjurations or communing with spirits that protect us from that influence. But our guards are let down because we are wanting that invocation to take place. So you really truly have to know, like, and be confident because you can easily be influenced by those energies. So I wanted to also now read a bit from Jason Miller's Consorting with Spirits. And reading through this book, I would recommend this book for anyone that really truly wants to understand from his point of view how to connect with spirits. So I vibe with a lot of what it is that he is saying in his book. So he goes into this portion and shares something from another one of his books, which is The Sorcerer's Secrets. But I'm reading this from Consorting with Spirits. So I will check out the Sorcerer's Secrets also, because I like what it is that he is saying here. But he goes over 3 level divisions, which is the physical, astral, and Imperium or spiritual planes. This works for a lot of things, but in this book, it's helpful to parse this out a bit more into the 7 levels or layers of reality. So this goes into understanding what type of spirit it is, right? Understanding where they are coming from. And when you understand where they are coming from, you kind of understand those corresponding energies that will come with it. So it goes into the physical. This is the hard edge world we all know. 3 dimensions of space. We experience time moving forward. Movement requires physical exertion of some kind. So we are quite acquainted. We are well acquainted with the physical. The astral. Still experiencing 3 dimensions of space, but things are a lot more malleable. You can affect the astral through application of the will and imagination. This is why those who warn of the dangers of the astral consider it like a maze or of mirrors. It can easily reflect our hopes and fears. So again, right? This is why it is important for you to have this. We always have something that causes us to have doubt. There's always it's a healthy amount of fear that we should have. And, we always have these voices, the whispers, but there's a certain level of confidence and knowing and awareness that can alleviate so many things, right? And when you have such a strong doubt, there's danger, right? Of you being influenced and with those doubts and for your fears. When you have such a strong level of fear, that allows for things to show up, right? Like the boogeyman. The boogeyman is your fear. And we create egregores based on our fear. So that's the astral. Then it goes into a symbol space. Just as the etheric level bridges the physical and the astral, this level bridges the astral and mental levels. It is from this level that the more effective sigils, mandalas, mandalas, I always mess that word up, and magical circles come. Pure information expressed symbolically and spatially. Then the mental. It is here that we should stop using the term space because there really is no spatial distance. Things simply are. So he goes into talking about the Akashic record, so he goes into breaking down the different levels of these 3 realities, which is the physical, astral, and the spiritual realm. So these 2 things, I think, there's more, right? But I think when you really want to understand, when a spirit shows up, right? If it's showing up like the question was asked, if the spirit is showing up in your dreams, right? If the spirit is showing up just in your waking state, you want to first be in a headspace where you have this assurity about knowing who you are and knowing what it is you want and desire, right? Because you don't want to I don't recommend and I don't suggest going into spirit work without a focus, without a target, without understanding your purpose. Because if you go in without a purpose, right? So if you ask yourself, okay, this spirit is showing up in my dreams, right? The spirit is showing up in my dreams. Why would this spirit show up? Is there something that is currently happening to me in my life that I need to focus on? Is there something that I asked for? Whether verbally or mentally, is it something I'm desiring or yearning for? So you want to check yourself first. You want to ask yourself all these questions so that you won't be misled. Everything that shows up isn't meant, isn't something you might want to work with, right? Especially there's timing involved, right? So you may be seeing a spirit that is kind of like, a, time is different. You may be seeing a spirit that maybe this is something for you to work with in the future. So you need to really be clear on where you currently are in your, like, what is the current of energy that is your space right now? What is your headspace? Are you depressed? Have you have anxiety? Are you happy? Are you sad? Do that checklist first before you go into knowing who the spirit is or knowing how to connect with them. This is how you connect, and this is how you understand and know who they are. You first know who you are, and then when you get those questions out of the way, then you go into, well, this being showed up in my dreams. Is this an astral spirit? I come from the astral realm. What does the astral realm look like for you? Do you go into the astral often? Do you dream often? Begin to ask yourself those questions. And if this is an astral spirit, what typically happens in the astral for you? I know for me in the astral, I guess, I have different markers that tell me, okay, this is what that is. For example, I have this, and I've spoken about this, I think, on this channel. But when I go into the astral, I know without a doubt that this is a message from spirit. When the eyes are exaggerated and they have like this piercing stare. So it never fails whenever there's something that I really need to focus on and get a message from. It's the eyes, whether it's on a person, an animal. There's always eyes that kind of just, they're like big and they're kind of like staring at me. And all of a sudden there's no words spoken. Those eyes stare, and it's like this, telepathy that happens, and I'm hearing the message. So what is that for you? Like, why? How did it show up in the astral? So before you even get to knowing who the spirit is and how to commune with them, you have to first know what is the current of your space, what's happening right now with you in your life, and then you want to know why the astral, why in my dreams, and what that looks like for you overall, what your dreams look like, and how you do that. If you're somebody that doesn't dream quite a bit, or if you're somebody that doesn't astral travel, I would really, really ask that question. Then why do they show up in your astral? That would make me second, like, well, I don't dream. I usually don't have like things in the astral. Not saying that it can't happen, because right, one day in your life, you're not someone that dreams and goes to the astral, and then, or communicate with spirits. And the next day, all of a sudden, boom, it's an influx of all of this happening. But you really want to, before you even begin to put that candle out for that spirit and commune with the spirit, these are things you want to know. Because what happens after all of this is informed, after all of the gnosis you have gathered, then you have a better understanding by that point what it is that you should do, because you would have reduced all of the things that could be potential doubts. Like, you have dotted your I's and crossed your T's, so then you have a clearer understanding of how to proceed with working with that spirit. And after you've done that, the most basic thing that I would say to do is, I usually say, put out a white or a black candle, and depending on what you feel that vibe was, what you felt when you had this dream of the entity, light a candle, and just light that candle. You don't even have to have anything else, right? You like that because you're trying to gather gnosis of this spirit. So you light that candle and you sit and commune and you meditate and say, this is for you. It doesn't have to be like a fancy incantation. You are speaking and you are saying, if this is for you, if there's a message from you, you didn't get the clear understanding in your dream, you would like them to show up again and speak. If there's a message for you, speak the message. and speak it in a way that I can understand it. It is clear to me, all of those things. So you begin there, right? And then and just see what happens. But I really think first and foremost, right, we always want to get skipped to the part, not saying that the person asked me the question, not saying that you want to skip, because you could have very well gone through the whole process. But this is what I would say to that question. When somebody asks me the question, how do I connect with this spirit? The first things I talk about is I first start with knowing yourself. Like, where are you in your practice? Are you someone that is sensitive to energies? Do you understand the shifts? That is very important. Understanding the subtle, because they're very subtle. They're not subtle once you really know your energy, because, all right, so in the physical, we understand when it's cold, right? We're practiced in understanding that, right? So when we feel all of a sudden it's warm, and then we feel this sudden cold burst of air, we know something has shifted, right? Because we understand what cold is. So once you understand, same thing with hot. Once you understand this in the unseen places, those different energies, right? Practice understanding those energies, and then, you know, those shifts won't be so subtle anymore. You'll be like, oh, what was that? You know, the more you practice with that. So, because not everything that shows up in our life, in our space, in our mind, in our dreams is something meant for you to connect with, right? I've had beings show up. I remember I was just laying there resting. I was like in between. I was napping, but I wasn't really quite asleep. And I remember I closed my eyes, and all of a sudden with my third eye, I see this dragon, like reptilian face. I saw like half the face, but all of a sudden it opened its eyes and it was staring at me. And at that point I was like, okay. Okay, what's this? But I had no desire, because I know at that point, at that level, I was at the level where I understood, okay, that was just something checking me out. I will take the you know, precautionary measures that I typically take to make sure that my shield is protected. When you get a result, you have to prove that result. So you have to see if it's going to show up again. Is this a one-time thing? Is this reoccurring, right? So you want to have these results proven. So that is also, I would like to add that, right? So having those results proven, because I wouldn't, if this is something that showed up once, I wouldn't really, unless it like kind of like the energy was intense and there was a message. But if it's just something that's showing up and it showed up once, I will wait for it to show up again, because then that means it's there. Some things just, you know, walk by, pass by and unseen, and we happen to catch. It's like you're walking on the street, right? Just because you walk past a person, they may have said hello or held the door for you. That doesn't mean that you are best of friends and you guys are going to be friends from now on, and you're going to go home and call this person. No, you were passing by and you happened to bump into this person and in the store, and that was that, right? And you may never see that person again. So you want to have the proven results, and then you want to also think about this in the physical world, how this would play out with two humans. There's things that just pass by, and you know, oh, they see that beam of light coming from you, and they're like, oh, that's interesting, let me see what that is. And they're like, oh, okay, and then they keep going. So it doesn't necessarily mean, it just means you are in the same vicinity. Maybe you are even in your sleeping state, right? It could mean you're visiting this realm that has that same spirit in it, and they're like there at the same time. So there's so much there's so many reasons that this thing could be happening, which is why I go back to the beginning. When you understand yourself, your desires, what it is that you want, and what is happening in your world currently, you are aware of this. Those are the things that will best help ground you in, knowing and understanding what is taking place in the unseen around you. Those subtle shifts. I hope that answers the question. And if any of you have, not that I'm an expertise on anything, but if you just want to hear my perspective, my opinion, and my experience, feel free to email me a question. I would say put it on this video, but I might not see it. So if you have a question, feel free to email me at aradia.arcanum. My email is in my bio, and I'll put it in the video notes. But yeah, if you have a question and you just want to hear my perspective, hit me up. But that is it for this video. Until the next video, I love you all, and into the shadows.